Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Hello, my friend. Funny story. I think it's really normal for kids to shut their parents out, and they might not even realize they're doing it, but parents tend to feel it a little bit more. And my kids have pretty much shut down towards my husband and I at least a few times in their adolescence and childhood. And right now, it seems like more are closing up to us than normal. And it is messing with my psyche. But never fear. That is why I have chosen today's episode topic for myself and for you. It is a good reminder for everyone who wants to know what's really going on inside their kid's head, especially if their kid has been an open book in the past, which is my case. So, first I'm going to outline all the issues at hand. And in the last few minutes, I'll provide practical solutions that fit pretty much every situation we parents can encounter. So definitely stick around for the end for that. But it's not going to make a lot of sense without context. So we have to start at the beginning. So let's start there. The main reasons why your teen pulls away and stops talking as much or has never talked as much. They aren't interested in it. That's the short answer. They don't want to. The interesting part is the why. It's about them, always, but as their parents, we can typically influence this. Today we're going to use an avatar named Lisa. She's got several kids, from young married adults to teens and tweens. She runs the gamut. And so here are the reasons from Lisa's perspective. Number one, they don't feel safe. Lisa's reacted poorly in the past. She's made judgmental comments about others who are struggling in maybe similar ways as her kids. And her kids took note of that. They've seen how Lisa parents their siblings. Their brain is spinning these things against you. It is human nature, my friend, and teens are developmentally especially prone to this, that we see things as more dangerous than they really are. It's just a safety mechanism that we're all hardwired with. This is why we take offense to things that were never meant to be offensive. This is why Lisa commenting on, what her son's friends are doing in a disparaging way, he takes as a personal insult. Women do this all the time. We see, for example, this is one example, if a man comments on another woman's appearance in a negative way, we think, oh, nuts, he probably thinks that I'm too loud, too big, too tall, too short, too whatever that he commented on that other woman. He probably thinks that about me. And our kids do this too. They think, oh no, I better not show any of that to mom that she has clearly exposed displeasure to. Even though if we were to ask Lisa, your kid is struggling with vaping, just like you said his loser friends are. And she would probably say, oh, my son, I love you. Let me help you. And she would not be rude, or at least that's what she would say she would do. But she's never going to know now because she was so negative about that. And now the son doesn't feel safe. Maybe Lisa gets defensive and blames her husband for playing the good cop. So she always has to play the bad cop. And that's why she nags and gets angry. So she lectures. She refuses to listen. Thus, the teenager doesn't feel safe. Another reason why our kid maybe isn't opening up to us is that we're actually just reading it wrong. Lisa tends to think that everyone is like her and thinks like her and feels like her. And when her kids aren't behaving like how she thinks they should behave when they're tired or sad, she thinks something is wrong. Maybe your kid isn't sad, they're tired. This has been my 2-week thing, looking at this one particular child. What is wrong? Why are you so sad? I'm just tired, which makes sense. She just finished with a lot of athletics. She likes to read until late. Nothing's wrong. She's just tired. There isn't anything big to unravel. They're fine and just being themselves. And it's Lisa, or perhaps me, that needs to chill out. So Lisa could be reading the situation wrong. Number 3, they feel like it won't change anything. Your kid doesn't want to open up because nothing's going to change. Perhaps they've told you a million times already in their mind's eye, which could be once or twice, and you've discounted or dismissed. For Lisa, this could be her kids telling her that certain family members, like her parents, their grandparents, aren't very nice to them. They make judgmental comments. They comment on their clothes or their body. They are sarcastic and rude, and your kid doesn't want to be around them. But Lisa doesn't want to hear this because she wants the whole family there, and she doesn't want to have to deal with it, so she dismisses or even validates the grandparents' critique of the child so that there wasn't bad behavior. It's true, you should work on that. And completely steamrolls their child's feelings and experience. Thus, nothing will change. And maybe they also don't feel safe. Number 4, they don't want you to know because you'd alter it. Something would change and they don't want it to change. Lisa's kids like having phones Lisa doesn't know about. Oh, I've heard this so many times and experienced it in my own home. Kids are smart, and if you set up stuff on their phone, but they really want Instagram or Snapchat or to search whatever they want, they'll just find an old phone in the drawer or from a friend. But Lisa's noticed they aren't sleeping as much, right? But what she doesn't know is they've downloaded apps that they could get in trouble for. And now maybe they're being bullied, but they can't tell you because it would expose them too much. Well, you don't have Instagram. How are you being bullied on Instagram? Or maybe the teen isn't seeing any kind of negative impact, although Lisa might be like, why are you so grumpy? Why are you sleeping less? You shouldn't have a phone in your room. It's plugged in the office, but oh, they have a second phone in their room all night. And so their kid maybe talks less generally to not accidentally reveal something that they don't want you to know. Like, oh yeah, I saw that reel too. How did you see that reel? Or, oh, I saw this come up and that shouldn't have come up because you shouldn't have had access to it. Right now, Lisa's daughter has a boyfriend that Lisa wouldn't approve of. But Lisa has no idea because her daughter doesn't want that to change, and mom would try to change it. So they could not be speaking to you because they like keeping you in the dark. Another reason could be that they're naturally more private and you're asking them to be something that they're not. Lisa has a son that rarely opens up. She's worried that he's having a bad high school experience because she remembers how fun her high school experience was, and her son hardly ever goes out. So she nags, snoops, and meddles, and he responds by closing off even more to her because he's private. He doesn't want her to be meddling. This one can be tricky to tease out as far as what is at play with mental or emotional struggles. It can also just be their personality. So I want to give you some markers. Markers for struggle can include a massive shift in a short amount of time in personality, weight going up or down, amount that they're eating up or down, mood, and how they spend their time. Some good things to look for are, do they have a passion? Things that enrich their life and that they regularly are engaging in, like a musical instrument, a sport, a craft or a hobby, some kind of skill that they're enthralled with, maybe fixing a car. Do they have one or two close and connected relationships that seem healthy? Are they taking on appropriate challenges? Watch to see how they're functioning in several areas of their life, and that can be a good tell. They could also fear losing your love. This is a really big one. Lisa's got a college-age child who is sexually active, and Lisa doesn't know about this. This child knows that it goes against what they were taught, and she fears disappointment and loss of love from her parents. She's also leaving the religion that Lisa has raised her in, but she's scared for her parents to find out. This feels very valid because Lisa has dropped friendships where that friend left the religion or political ideation that Lisa closely identified with. And so this child feels very vulnerable and expendable and doesn't want to risk having a family unit's support lost. Love of a parent lost, disappointing a parent. These are huge things for our kids. More than you might think, even the ones who seem like they don't care. They care and they don't want to lose your love. And so shutting you out so that you can't see what is unlovable about them is a really common reason. Okay, two more. Your teen wants to be independent, so it has nothing to do with you. They love you, but they need to prove to themselves that they can do it without you. Lisa had a toddler that needed to buckle themselves as soon as their little hands could grip the buckles, wipe themselves as soon as they were potty trained, and do as many things for themselves their entire life. It's always been like this. And so it's no surprise that this daughter doesn't include Lisa in her decision-making conversations. It's her way of building her own self-esteem and independence, has nothing to do with Lisa, and it's how the daughter wants to roll, independently. Last one, your home, therefore your teen, lacks healthy communication skills. Many humans don't like conflict, and Lisa's son is one of those people. He sees that when others push against their mom or dad, or simply doing their thing adjacent to the family, and Lisa doesn't agree, it turns into a fight, a guilt trip, silent treatment, and it can last for days. He'd just rather not. And so he shows as little of himself and his ideas and beliefs and actions as he possibly can, because he doesn't want it to cause conflict. Hi there. I just want to pause and let you know if you are struggling to make sense of your teen's behaviors, emotions are running wild, and you're looking to turn things around to have the family you dreamed of while rocking them to sleep, I would love to talk to you. I want to give you a special, powerful gift. 30 minutes with me, my friend. You'll walk away with more confidence, clarity, and understanding of what the issue is and your next best step in resolving any situation you bring to me. It's completely free. I love families and want to help yours be wildly happy and successful. Book this call by visiting my website, heatherfraser.com. Remember, Fraser is spelled with a Z-I in the middle. And don't worry, the link is also in the show notes. I look forward to meeting and helping you. Now let's talk about how to spot and remove the communication barriers that keep them from opening up, which are essentially the effective ways to rebuild trust and get your teen talking without it feeling forced. Seeing the top reasons that I just listed as to why they're not communicating with you, there are basically two different categories that parents need to be aware of as far as the barriers that are keeping communication lines down. The first one is how the parent is contributing to the problem, and the second one is what's happening with your teen, their mental, emotional, and physical situation. Usually it's a little bit of both, oftentimes more or less of one or the other, but usually a little bit of both. So it's good to be self-aware of for yourself and pay attention to your kid. We always want to start with what is both the easiest and has the highest impact of any solution. And this is typically going to be starting with yourself. Being honest with how they might perceive you or what they've told you about why they don't share more. For Lisa, she needs to see how she's nagged, snooped, showed inappropriate frustration, judgment, or anger, and then apologize for it. Lisa needs to tell and remind with both word and deed that she will always love her kids, that she's trying to make change in herself, and then actually show them that when they confide in her. By the way, this is not permissive parenting. I'm not saying to let your kid do whatever. Now, it is whatever is age appropriate. So, for example, her daughter in college might come to her and say, Mom, I've got this boyfriend and I don't want to be involved with church anymore. Or maybe she puts two and two together and finds out without daughter telling her. There's not a lot we can do to correct our adult kids' choices. So Lisa could ask questions that express love and acceptance. She could say things like, tell me more. How can I support you? If her son, who's in high school, who she does have a little bit more authority over, comes to her and says, I'm shy, but I'm struggling with my emotions. She could say she's there for him, wants to support him, ask questions that show love and acceptance. She should not say things like, I knew it. If you'd just get up and get to class on time, things would be better. If you would have gone to homecoming with your friends, things would be better. If you just listened to me, none of this would happen. We don't want to do any of that. Lisa needs to be listening when her kids tell her that her parents are rude and choosing to believe and support her child. These are all the different ways that Lisa can own how she is contributing to the problem. Lisa needs to see what is true or a valid interpretation of your parenting through your teen's eyes. If you or I see something that we don't like in our behavior when we look in the mirror, I just want you to know it doesn't mean you're a bad parent. Nobody's perfect. Nobody gets everything right all the time. We are all learning. And when we can allow ourselves to actually see what's going on and be honest with ourselves, guess what, my friend? That's a good indicator that you're actually above average. This is a lot easier and more efficient with a coach or therapist. As professionals can see the forest through the trees, they're not as emotionally attached. They know what they're looking for, what you can't see, and they know the exact tools to correct the issue as soon as possible and as quick and painlessly as possible as well. Now, once you've cleaned up your side of the street, or Lisa has, and I just want to say that this is an ongoing process, just like literally cleaning something. It's not a one and done ever, especially if we've had bad habits that need time and lots of testing from our teenagers to give them the trust and reassurance that they need that the other shoe isn't going to drop. It's not just pretend. It wasn't a fluke that you actually didn't overreact all over them. Let's look at how Lisa can support her kids when the bulk of the communication shutdown is on their end. So she's done her work. Now it's time to go to the more difficult, less effective way to help our kids, which is helping them with their side of the street. Let's say the school counselor is telling Lisa that her kid is struggling and causing problems in class. Lisa can lean in, not take it personally, and offer to help her kid. This is really important. She can get them to a doctor, psychologist, therapist, whatever it is, whomever it is, to have eyes on her kid if that feels appropriate. She can learn emotional tools and model them. This is actually the best way to help our kids know how to help themselves. By Lisa learning healthy communication, and maybe her son seeing that, who is really uncomfortable with confrontation and arguments, he's getting examples of how to have healthy conflict resolution, how to share feelings, and how to not pass judgment and be responsible for our own emotions and behaviors. The single best thing you can do to help your child is to be a healthy example for them to see. Have a healthy marriage so they know what one looks like. Love yourself so they know how to love themselves. Be emotionally available to them so they know how to be emotionally available in all of their relationships. All right, let's talk about the common mistakes that I see parents making all the time when they're trying to get their teens to talk. And how to avoid them is by knowing that when we're doing them. It's really straightforward. This is where we talk practical solutions, my friend, because it's just as much about what to do as it is what not to do to keep communication healthy. Here are the most common mistakes. When parents make their child's behavior about themselves. So, again, using Lisa, she needs to know that her daughter in college, leaving religion and finding a boyfriend, is not about Lisa. If she thinks she's failed, that she's not a good mom, or that it's her problem to fix, she's going to drive a wedge between her and her daughter. She needs to allow her daughter to be an adult and respect her agency. This is what fosters communication and allows Lisa to remain an influence in her daughter's life. By letting go of what it means about herself and keeping it about her daughter, she can gain more self-control because she's not feeling like such a failure or like there's something for her to fix in order to be successful. And thus, Lisa creates the best odds to stay in healthy communication and therefore actually influence her daughter for the better even more. Oh, the irony. When we let go, we gain more control. It's simple to understand, harder to put in practice when we have bad habits that support the latter. The other thing that I see parents doing is when parents are lost in the details and can't think big picture. Typically, this actually means that they're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that they're dysregulated because getting lost in the weeds is always a very immediate, urgent, and scary big thing that our brain is believing is happening. The truth is, very little in our lives actually fits this response unless we are living in extreme circumstances, which some people do. But most of us do not, especially not day in and day out. So if we go with the majority of people that are going to be listening to this podcast, so probably not refugees, probably not people in drug houses and other genuinely scary human trafficking type situations, very little fits this response. Lisa, for example, is furious that her kids don't like her family. And not only is she making this about her and taking it personally, but also gets lost in the details of the upcoming weekend and how her parents will be upset if the kids don't come. And then her siblings are going to give her crap. And she wants to see these people and she wants to have fun and she wants her kids there and she wants everyone to be happy. And it's uncomfortable to deal with her child and what they're experiencing at such functions. So there's different ways that Lisa could respond to this in the weeds or lost in the details. She could freeze. She could shut down, doesn't want to talk about it. It just is the way that it is. And they're just going to go. And she makes no effort at all in supporting her child. She dismisses or downplays their words. That would be flight. Or maybe blames them or others or overreacts all over the place. That's fight. And that can even drive your kids into, all of these can drive our own kids into their own nervous system response. And unfortunately, I see a lot of behavior from parents that drives their kids to caretake their parents' behavior, especially when they feel threatened or their parents are putting their emotional needs on their kid. So their kid will say, "You're right, grandma and grandpa aren't that bad," to try and get the parent to calm down, but they are abandoning themselves. This is setting your kid up, like priming them for abusive relationships. We really don't want to do that to our kids. Or we can fawn. Lisa could fawn in this case, which is people pleasing. It's saying anything to keep the peace, even at their child's expense. So they could lie to their child and be like, "Yeah, that stinks." And then they still put them in that situation. And then they don't say anything to the parents. They're just trying to keep everybody happy, but actually nobody's happy. Getting lost in the details and being dysregulated, this is combated by parents recognizing when they are too dysregulated to think correctly and they are responding in an unhealthy fight, flight, freeze, or fawn way, and then removing themselves until they can gain balance and coming back to it. Again, very seldom is this impossible to remove yourself from the situation. Our nervous system says that it's urgent, and right now, it usually isn't. 9 times out of 10, or even more if you live the termed life that most of us live. Grades aren't it. Being on time, not it. Getting a to-do list done, also not that important. Not disappointing others, doesn't matter. These are all okay, and it is not appropriate to get lost in the details and be unable to pause to regulate your own nervous system before responding to your child. Your world is probably not on fire, even though it feels like it is. And I say this in the most loving way. When I learned about nervous systems, I sat and cried because I realized that I was in flight most of the time. Most of my life, it felt really good because I was accomplishing a lot. But I also couldn't connect with the people around me because my nervous system thought that I had to just go, go, go in order to be valuable. Please reach out if this is you, like close to or more than half of your life experience. It can be better, I promise. When parents have rigid expectations and know the one and only way things are to be done or life's to be lived, there's one way and it's my way or the highway kind of vibe, that's a problem. This is really prevalent in high demand religions. The trouble is, we all have to choose things for ourselves. So parents are definitely in charge of teaching and modeling values and what is important to their children. Absolutely. But then as the kid grows up, they get to choose what to embrace and how and when and what it looks like. It is no longer the parent's job. This can also present in really simple things as well. How counters are to be wiped down or the trash is to be taken out. How teens should communicate their plans to parents, how they should use the car, how they should date, use phones, have their hair and clothing, the kind of music they listen to or talents they pursue, right? Or even how they chew their gum. Lisa, for example, loves piano and expects all of her kids to take lessons and to practice for a specific amount of time and definitely 6 days a week. They should also keep their room clean, and she should for sure only have to ask them to do things once they should remember. And when they don't, she picks at them, complains, acts passive aggressive, threatens, lectures, gets moody. No wonder her kids don't want to have fun with her. She's a drag. Now, I love Lisa. I have been Lisa sometimes, and I'm guessing that you have been too. I know that she thinks things need to be done a proper way to feel safe, to feel clean and in control. She was taught these things when she was growing up, and she did them, so why can't her kids? Guess what? I don't know, but they're not. So now Lisa has two problems. Things aren't done her way, and her kids don't like talking to her because they're always in trouble because things aren't her way. This is where Lisa needs to do two things: loosen and adjust expectations and understand why she has them. Typically, this is wounds that aren't healed, and because that's usually the culprit to rigidity over love for your child. Again, please reach out if this hits. I did a trauma certification. We can clean up some of the more basic wounds. You are a good parent. There are just some skeletons that need to be addressed to find peace that are hiding in your closets. All right, so those are what parents don't want to do. Let's talk about what does help. Listen, the only speaking you should do is asking for more information. You definitely want to avoid the word why. Why do you think that? Why do you feel that way? Why did you do that? This usually creates defensiveness in most of us. So avoid the word why as much as you possibly can for best outcomes. Instead, use words like, I'm curious, help me understand. I want to see your perspective. I won't interrupt. Tell me why this is affecting you like this. How does that make you feel? And then listen and then ask more. At the end of all of it, tell them thank you for sharing such vulnerabilities with you, without offering any solutions or opinions unless they explicitly ask for them. And if they do, 1 to 2 sentences, like 10 to 15 seconds. That's how your solution or opinion should be offered. It should be offered without judgment. It should be an easy ask. Like, let's think more about this instead of you should do this long list of 10 things. That's going to be really overwhelming. 1 or 2 sentences. If they ask otherwise, you just tell them thank you. You love connecting with them, how honored you feel that they would share themselves with you, any of that, but mainly just listen. The next thing is respect. If they say they don't want to talk, allow it. When Lisa's son doesn't want to go to the dance or hang out with friends 24/7, that's okay. Now, she should definitely be watching for signs of trouble that we mentioned, but we can all allow our kids to be different than us because they are. So treat them how you would want to be treated, with respect. Just because they don't open up and share everything that you want to know doesn't mean they don't love you, doesn't mean they don't want to be with you or anything bad about you. It could just be a personal preference. And that's okay. Tragically, the more we chase, the more they run. And so if we stop chasing and we show respect and emotional maturity, that is putting us in the best position to invite them to share should they want to. All right, we want to offer outside help if it is wanted and appropriate. This can sound something like, I can see you don't want to talk to me, or thank you for sharing, and I don't know what to do either. I don't have all the answers for you. This is definitely beyond my skill set. Would you like to find someone to talk to? And then follow through with what they want and what's appropriate. And the last one, my friend, is to get help for yourself. Literally the best thing you can give your kids, the legacy that will move through generations, is emotional intelligence. Learn it, model it, offer it to them in your behaviors to them, in front of them, your marriage, your friendships, your work and family. Lisa can set boundaries with her parents. She can learn communication skills. She can evolve herself. And she can tell her kids that they are worth the effort that she's expending because she loves them and wants to have a relationship with them. I tell you, man, think about the relationships that you struggle in And if that person came to you and said, I value our relationship so much, I'm going to coaching, I'm going to therapy, I'm trying to see how I'm contributing to the problem. Will you please help me stop these bad habits by kindly pointing them out when I do them? I had to do this with my son because I would interrupt him all the time because I knew the answers. He didn't like being interrupted and he would just stop talking and that was the end of the conversation. I didn't get a second chance. And so I had to really learn to shut up and listen and not interrupt. And it was the most valuable thing. And guess what? When I told him I want to change, I am trying, that meant so much to him. Just like if your spouse or your friend or your parent came to you and said, I know that I haven't always been the best. I'm trying. And here's what I'm doing. I'm reading this book or I am working with this professional so that our relationship can be better. That's the best feeling in the world. So I want you to give everything that you've learned in this episode a try. As with everything I teach, take or leave what serves you. It's easier with a professional, so reach out to me or anyone you found that is both experienced and knowledgeable and you connect with. Whenever anybody asks me for recommendations, I say there's two things that you need. You need to connect with them and like them, and they need to actually be able to help you. Book a consult. We'll see if it's a good fit. It's free 30 minutes. Whether we work together or not, you're going to walk away with a lot of value, and you can schedule that in the show notes. And you can also head over to my website, heatherfraser.com. And if you're not ready for an appointment, that's fine. I also have 30 plus phrases in how to get your teen to talk to you. It's a cheat sheet and it has different scenarios like when they're upset, when you're upset, when they won't talk to you at all, or when the situation is hard. And I have different questions. I don't use the word why in any of them. To get the conversation going. So if you want a visual that you can print off or have as your screensaver on your phone or any of those things, it's really pretty. It has little succulents on it, but the value is in the 30 plus phrases for every situation that you have with your teen. I have put the link for that in the show notes. So if you're not ready to book a call, I totally get it. Grab that cheat sheet. That can be your next best step. And we will talk to you next week, my friend.